that's what brought you here, is this new edition of the story.
And we're really excited about Fresh Blood.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell us about that. What is that? What's happening, and why would this? What are we doing? You guys have a Kickstarter coming.
Yeah, we have a Kickstarter coming. We also just had more tales to tell, right? At our heart, we are storytellers as much as we are game designers, right? And we just had more stories to tell in the ETU universe. For those who aren't familiar with it, there's the core game about college students fighting the supernatural in rural East Texas. It's kind of Scooby-Doo meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer in East Texas college environment, right? So we did that. We did Pinebox Perils, where we introduced more bad guys because we just couldn't cram enough in the main book. And then after that, we had this cool idea about, well, what if they wanted to extend a semester abroad? And so what are some cool places around the world that are similar to little old Pinebox, Texas, where they could also have supernatural adventures? And so we put out Study Abroad, and that was a lot of fun. And we still had more stories to tell. And we thought it was just a good time to revisit the core setting, because there were things we wanted to do, like add graduate school, so that you don't have to finish the game as college seniors. You can continue right on into grad school with legendary rank characters if you want.
That's amazing.
We had more adventures to tell, and so we just decided it was time to come back and revisit the core setting with fresh blood.
That's awesome. Chuck, I think you're drooling on your microphone, dude.
I'm trying not to. I'm so sorry. I'm not professional, I promise. So, well, I mean, do you have anything else you would like to pop in on that?
I mean, Preston hit it on the nail there, the nail on the head or whatever. Like he's got a good concept of what we're about, and that's exactly it. When we came up with this, we decided we wanted to do a horror setting, and it led to Pinebox and led to ETU, and we're just blessed that this has gone on now for 23 years, 22 years, a lot of years.
You two have created something incredibly special. It truly is. I was telling Ed earlier that I have two 20-year-old twins, and I weaned them on SavageWorlds. I started recording, not to put stuff out, but just because I'm lazy, and it's for my note taking. Well, I mean, football players, baseball players do it, and how can you do better? So that was for me. And one of the first ones I recorded was with my daughter, my son, and then my daughter's eventual wife was for East Texas University.
Oh, wow.
So that's awesome.
Well, that's just special all the way around. That's awesome. That's going to be great memories for you later. You can go back and revisit. And it's ETU, so that just makes it awesome.
Right. And I'm a big fan of...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, please.
My oldest son is 30 now, but when he was 12 years old, he was playing the original ETU as a child prodigy, and he was shooting people with shotguns. It was brilliant. So I got you on the memories there.
There you go. Yeah, no, I actually, when I discovered it, again, it was the wild cards, and again, thanks to those folks for doing that. But it was I fell in love with it. Like, to me, it was and I didn't go to university, so I was a little bit intimidated. But like, for somebody who's a GM, what like, if they're looking for a new setting or a new story to tell, what do you think is like what makes ETU so special, as far as like how big can it get? How would you run it as far as a campaign? Because you guys use plot point campaigns, right? Yeah. What would you say is a good like thing for somebody who's maybe run Dungeons and Dragons before, or run Call of Cthulhu or something? Why would they really get excited about this? Because I know I am. I know Chuck is. What do you guys think is the biggest thing with the new Kickstarter that's coming Tuesday, right? You said it's going to launch Tuesday. So for those of you listening to this beforehand, you got some insider information. We're looking at the 21st.
21st,
yeah, of April. I know.
Ed, do you want to take that, or do you want me to?
Go ahead and get started, and I'll follow up.
Well, advice for GMs is, I mean, if you're coming from fantasy, it's dramatically different setting, right? So you have to have buy-in not only from yourself but also your players about switching genres entirely. But if you're going to switch genres entirely, I would argue that ETU is a great gateway drug to other genres. Because it is, it's our world. It's the modern world. It's very relatable. You don't have to explain idiosyncrasies of other settings like you would if it's a sci-fi setting, or even the Weird West, or some of the other
like
settings.
you learn the lore as you go, right? You don't need to have
exactly. You learn things as you go. You have an inherent understanding of the world around you. It just happens that the world around you also has zombies and ghosts and cults and things of that nature.
Yeah, and I think that makes it a really great game for newbies as well, because it's like you don't have to get into the hard fantasy right away. This is the real world. You're a college kid going to college.
And it's better. It's better that they come into it with this understanding that there isn't monsters, because then when they discover monsters, it's like,
oh yeah. And when we came up with it, one of the things I loved back in the day, and I still love it, but it's getting dated now, unfortunately. But Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I love Buffy. I'm a huge Buffy fan. I'm a huge Angel fan. And when they went to the 4th season of Buffy, where she went to college, they had so much potential, and the writers blew it. In my opinion, the 4th, I think the writers absolutely blew it. And when they blew it, it made me say, this could be done so much better. Like college is such a great setting for this. And I think of all the great movies that you've seen about colleges, even if you've never gone to college, you put on any college movie that's ever been made, every comedy, every whatever, and you get ETU. And then you add a little bit of horror mixed to that, a little Scooby-Doo to that, depending on how you want your flavor. We don't tell people how to play. You play your game. If y'all want to have a Scooby-Doo fun time, or if you want to have a horrific time, we can do both with ETU. In fact, you can go do both in the same campaign.
Right. Because for me, that was one of the things why I avoided ETU, sadly, for such a long time, is because, like I said, I went from high school to the workforce and family, so I didn't get to do that. And so for me, I looked at it like, I don't have the first idea on how to. And I can tell you right now, for everyone listening, just what these two men have put together, like it takes that pressure right off the GM.
Oh yeah,
now, like bing, here you go.
They made mechanics for how to be college. Everything else is storytelling and fun, right?
Yes.
And I love that.
And they break it down, and you guys did a good job on that. It helped me understand. Oh, okay. And then, like you said, you what's that? You want zombies in Animal House? Let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah. Some of our favorite things were like Red Necromancer, about this guy that's like, keeping old people alive with magic so he can take their Social Security checks, right?
Yes.
I mean, you can do anything with this.
So silly. I love it. Yeah, I Hollering Katie. I wrote the song for I played it with, on guitar for everybody, and there's so many good stories and so many good little. And then so I guess okay. So the purpose of a plot point campaign. You guys have is there a new plot point campaign with the
absolutely?
Cool. Yeah.
So how, as somebody who, I don't know if other systems use plot point campaigns in the same way. Like
no, I think only SavageWorlds truly does it this way.
So explain if you would what's a plot point campaign, and how would you run it different? Like in terms, would you cast 100 hooks into the water, or would you run it episodic? Like
I don't know about 100, but I would cast extra hooks every time we play and see where the characters want to go.
Yeah.
Shane Hensley, as far as I know, came up with plot points, and it's like mini adventures that have an arc that go over a long term. So if you think of the best way to describe it, honestly, is like a TV series.
Yeah.
If you're watching Supernatural, the first season, you've got a big arc in the first season, but not every episode is arc related.
Yeah.
And you do the same thing with your plot point campaign.
Yeah, your
So
big
you'll
bads
play-
show up every 4 episodes or so to
something
remind
like
you
you'll have,
he's still
exactly.
there.
And so you'll fill in the blanks with Savage Tales, with your own creative stuff, or maybe some of the previous adventures that we put out. You make it your own, but the arc goes all the way through to the very end. And so you have this huge moment at the end where it's like, this is what we have to do to win. And it's so
Everything built up to this.
Everything built up to this. And it's a brilliant way to do it. I've seen all sorts of other ways done. I mean, other people have done it with, threads and things like this, where like, this is a plot idea or a plot seed, go to here. But it's a little bit more detailed than that, but it's not as detailed as a solid campaign book that you might get from another company.
Right.
But it's literally, this is what you need as a GM to sit down and play right now.
Yeah, and it can go as long or as short as you want it to. That's the thing I like about the plot point campaigns is you could quite literally, if you got a 10-point plot point campaign, you could run that in 10 episodes. You could run it. You could do what I do, which is I'm a sandbox guy myself, where I will run it, and it'll take like 3 years to get through 1 year of college. But still, it's a lot of fun, and I really do like the mechanics of like, yeah, we were out all night, tracking down the vampire lair. But we have a test in the morning, and how are we going to get this done? Right? Like, I love that.
Or a community project or something that you have to get done on the side, or you're a football player and you got a game coming up. Are you going to be back in time for the game, or are you going to be in trouble with the coach?
You're going to get in trouble with the coach.
Some of those things.
And it makes for great NPCs. It makes for great, storylines that aren't necessarily about killing the monster. It can be scarier to face your English teacher and tell him that you didn't get your essay done, right?
and some of the things that are fun about ETU too is it's college. These are kids trying to find their way into adulthood. They are trying to find love. They're dating. They're doing all the other things that you do, but you're also doing it on a budget, right? If you remember, if you went to college, those were went to, you don't have I didn't have a lot of money in college. I think I lived on $30 a week, literally. And I stretched that to get beer. So I'm just saying, it wasn't, I didn't eat real well. But you have to have priorities in college. And one of the very first games we played of ETU, we're doing a play test. And I'll never forget, one of the guys that was playing was out of money because he went and bought stuff. And it was still had like half the semester to go. And he needed to date this girl to find this information out for the party. So he had to borrow money from another player to go take this girl on a date. And it was hilarious. It was so much fun. Like, you can do so much with ETU.
That's great.
Oh God, great. Yeah. Because I've always enjoyed that aspect of it, is if the characters come in, especially the characters that took like poverty or something. So like, they're there, you got your stuff, but what are you doing for cash? What are you doing? And then just the absolute bizarre stuff that they will do, and the horrible situations I get to put them in. Because what's that? You just made friends with the grandson to the local bruja. Congratulations.
The pizza barn on Friday night is an adventure every time.
Yes.
Every time.
Yeah.
And you guys have done a lot of work. The one thing I really loved about, and still continue to love about ETU is I like the way the magic system is. It's not you're a wizard, you cast a spell. Yeah. You have to find the pieces. You have to find the spell in the first place. And I like using the example, I made one for like Miss Mildred's tea ceremony for protection or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I actually went and wrote this poem for the players, and they had to go get river water and a stone, and they had to get this feather from and they had to run out and find all these things, and then they put it together, and then they do their so is there any new exciting things for magic and stuff
that you could talk about if you want?
If you can talk about it?
Yeah.
Well, Preston's a guru on that one.
So I mean, in short, yes. There were changes this time around for sure. We did refine the list of ritual components. They didn't go away, that's for sure. You still do ritual components. If you saw Pinebox Middle School, which is the Stranger Things version of ETU.
Yes.
We played, that's like ETU 1.5. So it's somewhere in between the first edition and Fresh Blood.
Yes.
So we played with it there, and then further refined it for Fresh Blood. We pulled out black magic for Pinebox Middle School because it wasn't appropriate for kids, but it's back in there for Fresh Blood, and we did it in a way that I think makes more sense. Well, it didn't make sense before, but we explained that why in the world anyone would try black magic is because it makes magic easier. And so if your party is faced with a really, really difficult ritual that they need to pull off in order to defeat some bad guy, well, guess what? There's a shortcut. You can do black magic, but then you have to pay the cost, right?
Nice.
So there's some additional room for conflict there. Nice. The other thing is that I clarified something that I had wanted to do first time around and just didn't get around to doing, which is the intersection of technology and magic.
Okay.
And the idea that you could just use your cell phone and have a ritual on the phone, or take pictures of something or video of something. And so this time we explained that that technology and magic doesn't mix. And that there's always going to be entropy, and if you try to use your phone or whatever,
Bigfoot pictures are blurry, right? Like,
yeah. It just degrades it. And it's possible that maybe you pull it off, but the ritual that results isn't the one that you meant to cast, or maybe it bounces back on you.
I love that.
So you go back to the random demon table, things like that.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
So
nice.
So let's say I'm new to SavageWorlds. Let's say I'm listening to this podcast and I'm thinking to myself, this sounds like a lot of fun. So I got to get the SavageWorlds core book, which is available, right? Like I can get that, and then I get your Kickstarter. I get this game. Do I need the horror companion? Is that a piece that I have to run ETU?
You don't. We do mention it in a couple places. We did borrow a few edges from the Horror Companion, so they're just copied wholesale out of the Horror Companion. So they're already in there. There are other places where we do reference and say, hey, if you want to use these optional rules, you can find them in the Horror Companion, but they're not necessary to play the core Fresh Blood game.
Because I know when the Horror Companion came out, I was reading through it, and a lot of what I was looking at was like, how do I incorporate this into my ETU game?
Absolutely.
So, like you were talking about black magic, and I thought of the corruption. Like there's like a in the Horror Companion, it's like you can have a. So I incorporated that. I had a character who started to go down that dark path.
Yeah.
And so that
absolutely fits ETU. I mean,
it really does.
Yes.
Almost everything in that book. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the first things that I did. I looked at that and I'm like, oh, look at that chart.
Oh yeah,
that fear chart.
Well, the fear table. Oh yeah,
I did. I warn them all the time. I said, okay, guys, look, there's fear and there's terror. And when you fail this terror check, or if you botch the fear check, I get to roll my favorite chart. And I look at their face when I get and I pull up that book and they're like, no, come on, man. So absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. It makes for great storytelling, right? That's what the rules are for. It's they don't exist just for their own sake. They elevate the storytelling. They're tools in your toolbox to make for a great game.
That's awesome.
And we also revised the way you use high strangeness to make it more applicable to the game. Yeah.
So tell our listeners what high strangeness is, and then give us any little bits of what you can give us.
All right. So when it comes to paranormal, ghostly stuff, or aliens or whatever, there's a thing called high strangeness, and this is like what people really believe. So I'm not making this up, but like strange things happen when aliens appear or ghosts appear or whatever, so that are unexplainable. So we wanted to put that in the original ETU, and we did. The problem was it was very cool, but what we found is many players would go off on a red herring trying to change down this high strangeness.
And it was just a weird thing where
it's just a weird thing that happened because of the haunting.
Right.
So we actually came up with some rules and things on how high strangeness works to help the dean not have those problems.
Nice. Awesome. Wow. Yeah. Good. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much more cause effect.
That makes sense. And that's true. Because I'll be honest, and that was one thing I always did too, is I would look at the high strangeness, and then I'd roll something and I'd look at it and go, nope, that's going to confuse them.
Yes.
They're going to be like, all of a sudden,
that's the truth. I mean, it's a cool table, but
it's great. It was
really
a great idea.
Purpose. The other thing that we Preston and I both agreed on early on when we were doing Fresh Blood is we did not want to just do ETU remade.
Right.
So what you've got now is a new book.
Okay.
And even if you see things that are familiar, a lot of it has been changed and revised. It's for SWADE, as well as for what we think makes it a better edition. All the plot points are new. All the Savage Tales are new. We've got new monsters. Like it's a new game. So you're not spending your money buying the same game over again, which always irritated me. This is a new game.
And SWADE is SavageWorlds Adventure Edition for those new to
Nice.
That's all. So that's the latest edition of SavageWorlds. That's awesome. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So you guys had mentioned earlier that there was that like ETU wasn't the starting. There was the 12 to midnight production stuff, which I love, by the way. I did really seriously. Beast Within, all of that was I mean, right there.
It's good horror. Good horror. I love it.
It really is. And it was very, because in the degrees of horror you guys mentioned, which was incredibly helpful to me, by the way, thank you. Say, hey, by the way, this is a good idea to place, like if you want, take this story, it could pop it in during this year or something like that.
We have a similar sidebar in Fresh Blood.
Oh,
how to use old adventures, old ETU, all that stuff, how to incorporate
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome.
So would Fresh Blood be like, it would be something like, let's say you had a party and you've been running ETU. Would you say that Fresh Blood would be a whole new group of characters?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have what we call old era and new era, because people might be playing the very next year after they finish their ETU, right? Or they may be playing 10 years later, 12 years or whatever. So, or maybe they never played the original ETU. So the new era, you don't have to have played that to play this.
Right.
Okay.
There are still links there. You can still see the continuity if you have, but if you haven't, you're not missing out on anything.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, and as you said, the original book is you'd have to get a PDF or get lucky to find one, right? Like
right. They're not in print anymore, and so or I think there's just a very few of them still left.
But the PDF will still be available.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
Yeah.
Nice.
But again, you can use anything we've ever done. You can upgrade and put it into your own campaign. That's not. Of course.
Yeah.
So even though we say for canon purposes, first edition and anything all the adventures we did before then are first era or and this is new era, which is later, that doesn't mean the DM can't take and pick and choose and do what he wants.
But the point is, you don't need to have the old stuff to enjoy the new stuff. And if you do have the old stuff, you can still enjoy the new stuff without feeling like you wasted your
100%.
That's amazing, guys. That's amazing. I'm so excited.
Ooh.
So
and we also have rules about bringing your Pinebox middle school character from new era into ETU. So
wow.
They've grown up, they've gone to high school, and now they're going ETU. So we actually have rules for that as well.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So if you played the Pinebox middle school campaign, you want to roll into ETU with the same character, just more adult, there you go. You're good to go.
That's great.
I have two burning questions. I'm sorry, we're on it, and I gotta ask. The first one is because again, I got you guys here, so I've been dying to know, when is the original Pinebox, like in your heads? What year is that taking place?
Degrees of horror?
In your heads, like what do you think?
2009,
2009. Okay. All right. So
now, we didn't have rules for cell phones and things. We just talked about it. So now we actually have rules for cell phones and things. Like we've actually, because a lot of folks were confused. We didn't realize that. In our head, it was the 2000s. And other people were like, well, this is the 1980s. No, it would be really cool, but no.
Yeah, and I feel like you could run it in. Like that's the one thing I always thought was. Like I know
any era.
I know when I was playing, so Chuck ran one. It was
2014.
still running. I remember it was 2000. It was like 2000 and for a few years there, where it was like, well, you don't need to explain what year it is. It doesn't matter.
No, we don't
Well,
talk
and
about
I think
that.
Wild Cards ran Last Rites in the 80s.
The 80s.
Right?
Yeah.
They set it in in the 80s. So,
Which is
so
that was
it
the
could be done.
groovy. That was
Yeah.
groovy.
Well, I
love
like
that.
I like the idea. I think if I was to do something, I think it'd be neat to run Last Rites and the player, one of the some of the player characters could be like Sonia Alvarez and Glenn McClanahan, and
So it's funny you say that. We wrote an adventure, and eventually, hopefully, it'll get published. And we turned it a long time ago. But Preston and I wrote a 3-part adventure that we ran at ChupacabraCon a couple of years back. One of them was Pinebox 1880, and then you play the grandchildren of those kids in the 1930s, and then you play the grandchildren of those kids in 1980. And Glenn Mack is actually one of the characters as a young man in 1980 at
That's
ETU.
awesome. So it's like the Giovanni Chronicles, but with the
it's called Legacies because you learn things over this long arc of the 3 adventures.
Oh my God!
And so hopefully that'll be out eventually.
Oh,
That's a really good adventure.
oh, I'm so excited! I'm so happy!
Yeah.
I'm so happy! I really am.
It was a cool thing, but it's not really ETU per se, right? It doesn't fit in
It's
with
historical.
either
It's not-
degrees
it's
of
not-
horror or
you're not
Fresh
releasing it,
Blood,
but it was a cool
so-
story. Is what you're saying?
Well,
Yeah.
we may release it.
You may. Oh, nice.
We hopefully it will.
I mean, you
it'll
can
be
just go ahead and send that to me. I'm
Just send it
okay with
over.
that, boys. That's good. We'll run that for
we
you.
had a lot of fun with that one because
I bet.
playing a little bit of Deadlands, a little bit of Deadlands Noir, and then the
yeah.
1980s, with the disco and
Damn it!
we had the main part of the third one. Preston, you want to tell them what the main part of the third one was?
So the third one is set at a roller derby
Oh,
in a skating rink in Pinebox. So we extensively use the chase rules
Yeah.
as a roller derby team. So you're one
that's
team
awesome.
and you have an opposing team and you're in this extended chase, and it was a ton of fun.
And that's great. That's
I
great
gotta
con.
bring roller
That's great
derbies
con.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
that's
gotta
great.
bring roller derbies in. Damn it!
Let's
And another
let's
Another fun thing about that is the first one. It was when it was a Texas Women's College, East Texas Women's College. So every character is a female.
Nice.
And then when you get to the last one, most of the characters are female because they're on the roller derby team.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So,
so
it was a
cool.
lot of fun.
That is so.
You said
wow.
you had 2 questions. Was there another one you want to ask?
My second one is because I completely agree with everything you guys said. Like when I am bringing new players in fact, my wife, a couple that she used to work with, they wanted to get into tabletop, and I said, okay, yeah, I'll run you through something. And my immediate go-to is ETU because it's just like you said, you can understand it right away.
Yeah.
And you know it.
Yeah.
And the buy-in is so easy for this. So
Well, and it's fun to play 20 somethings. It's fun to, let yourself
Yeah.
look
Right.
stupid for a
Right.
while.
It's fun to
yeah.
remember what it might have been like in my brain
Right.
so long
Yeah.
ago.
Even
I
if
don't
you
remember
haven't
for
been to
sure.
college, like Ed said, like we've seen the movies, we've
We've all-
consumed the media. It
Yeah,
isn't like
you know,
you're really in college anyway. It's
exactly. You
Yeah.
know what you want the college to be.
right.
Whether it's
Right.
real or not. Like I made
Exactly.
the mistake because I didn't know. But the RAs in my head, it was like, oh, there's one RA for the building, and both actually my son's girlfriend came back, and I was still talking to her about it, just picking her brain, and she's like, wait, what are you talking about? No, that would be insane. There's no way one person. No, that would be
per floor or per wing. Yeah.
exactly. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. That's something more I could put in. The other thing I really like is you guys threw in, especially for the study abroad, you had the archetypes. And I can't tell you how immensely useful that was for me because it's right now, boom, here you go. What do you want to do? What's that? You want to do the cowgirl? Hell yeah, let's play. And the jock, yeah, and you immediately know. Because I could take those characters, I could take the horror companion archetypes and put them together. The only thing, okay, hold on, here we go. The only thing that has been clawing at me for years now, gentlemen, because my daughter wanted to play the ROTC and you did not make an archetype. So this is my request. The ROTC, and then you have another beautiful picture of it's the lady, I think it's like the pink dress. The chick
sorority girl.
No. It was in the book.
The floor-length skirt. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, her, because you see her in multiple pictures, and you didn't make her either.
Yeah.
So this is my humble request. If you're going to do archetypes,
honestly, the first one you talked about, the RTC girl, came almost at the very end of the original ETU, so it was too late to get the archetype added in. Because that was actually my wife's character when she played.
Oh, nice!
So that was my wife's character. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, my kid, that was immediate when she saw that, because she's sadly when she was younger, she got sick and she's deaf in one ear.
Oh, wow.
And so that was something, even as a little child, she said she wanted to go into the military. And she can't. And so when we started playing, she was like, "Oh, I want that." And I'm like, "Okay, here we go."
Yep.
So
nice. Well, I'm sorry we didn't have that for her.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can make amends.
Well,
and they
will.
Get on that. I'm excited for this.
I will warn you, we have different archetypes this time around. I mean, we have a long list of archetypes, right? But only a handful of them have art associated with them because art's expensive, right? And
exactly.
My drawing would be stick figures.
No.
Right? So yeah, we chose for the ones that are pictured. We chose some like they're all new characters, even if they're the same archetype. So we have an athlete, but it's not the same athlete as before. We have a cheerleader, but it's not the same cheerleader as before. So you're going to see some differences and some similarities.
No, that's beautiful. Hey,
right?
more. I'm okay with that.
That just gives me more tools in my toolbox to be able to play with. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we should. I mean, I'm having a great time, but let's get to the close, which is so the Kickstarter starts on the 21st of April. We'll, like I said, we're going to try to push this episode out. If not, it happened, and hopefully you guys all bought it. But let's
which they should.
Which they should, and I'm excited too. I'm definitely going to be on board for that.
Thank you guys.
What I mean, can you give us a tease on any of the goals or any of the fun stuff that comes along with the Kickstarter? Or
I mean,
was it too early?
I thought you meant personal goals. I was going to be like, my personal goal is to make enough to buy an island.
Right.
That's my goal.
But not Dale Island. We're going to put
not Dale Island.
No, let's not be hasty.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Let's not be hasty. That could be cool.
So I will say, to begin with, that we have, of course, ETU, Fresh Blood, the rules, and the plot point, and all in one book. We didn't want to do separate books this time.
Oh, that's neat. Okay, cool.
Yes.
But we do have, and I cannot wait for you to see it, Chickens in the Mist, the graphic novel.
Oh, I got a page of it. It was
SWADE, and it is SWADE. We have the adventure for SWADE in the back that has been updated for SWADE, and with actually characters and everything you can play right off the bat from the comic book. In fact, I use those characters every time I go to a con now. Those are the characters that I'm using to play with. Yeah. So
and Chickens in the Mist is a notorious story in the Savage Worlds community of if you don't like your characters anymore, run Chickens in the Mist and get whole new characters.
Right.
After.
It does have a reputation to kill everyone, but honestly, players are getting better because I used to kill everybody in TPKs, and there's some that are. It seems like now I can't kill them all. I
think the only time I've ever run it or played it, and I can't remember, but I think it ended up being a dream sequence because that way it didn't matter if we all died.
Right. Yeah, if you put it in your campaign, put it early so no one's really attached to the characters.
Yeah. Because because that story really is like you have Deadlands: The Night Train. Right. Is synonymous with that, and then that is like that, and then Chickens in the Mist. And it really is. If you know, you know. And it's like, and I've read it, and that's another thing that I really, as I know we're rapping, but I gotta say, guys,
it's okay. We can keep going.
it really is like your stories. It's not just fun to run; it's also just fun to read. They really are.
It's true.
So
it's
for
true.
the fact that you're making this a graphic novel, yes, do more.
Please. Thank you. Yes.
Do one of the Savage Tale Beautiful Smile.
I will say this. I don't know if we're going to do another graphic novel. That depends on Pinnacle.
Yeah.
But I will say that Preston and I have both written several short stories, and Preston's going to be putting out a book of these very soon.
Yeah.
They go right along with ETU.
So I want to have you guys on the show again, because I think there's a lot of questions we didn't ask, a lot of gaming questions. And one thing I'd like to do when we have guests on like this is, if you guys don't mind, what's one good GM tip, not necessarily connected to ETU, or what's your best tip to give our listeners so they can become good GMs like you and I?
Not me.
Okay. Well,
so you and
my tip is start the hook for the next adventure before the current adventure is over, so that it feels like one continuous experience rather than individual TV episodes.
Love it.
Right. Good thought. Good.
And one of the things I like to do, one GM trick is definitely listen after every session. Listen to your players talk and steal their best ideas.
Yes.
And don't let them know you're doing it. But the other thing I would say is, no matter how many people you have at your table, make sure you have a moment in every adventure, or even maybe an adventure that focuses on everyone's individual character. Let them be the star for a while.
Agreed.
Let them see where they want to go with it. If they play the love interest card, then by gosh, let's have a love interest. Let's have some fun with this. And you can just make sure the players. A lot of times, I think young GMs, young deans will say, "Well, this is my world, and this is what I want to have happen." But the truth is, it's a shared world, and you want your players to have fun with it. Where do they want to go? What kind of adventures do they want to have? And let them have some control of that. And one thing about SavageWorlds, you can play those bennies as players and say, "Oh, you know what? I think I see a friend of mine in this club, and I'm going to play the bennies. Go talk to them."
I love it.
That's right.
So those are real good things that I do.
And I think with SavageWorlds, one of the neat things I really like is the hindrances, and you've got your edges and your hindrances, and your hindrances are most certainly things that your players are telling you they want to play out. Because why would you have a character who's, I don't know, afraid of the dark if you're not going to put them in situations like that? So that's what you're saying, is listen to your players. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes, seriously. Thank you guys so much.
It's been a ton of fun.
Thank you.
Anytime you want us on, just ask, gentlemen.
Oh, absolutely. And I will, take my money, please.
Oh, yeah. Just right there. My wife is going to be so mad. She's going to be so mad. She's like, what is this? Baby, it's necessary.
It's important. Don't you worry. All right.
You'll get 3 years worth of use out of it. It costs out. It amortizes out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for everyone out there. And if this is your first time joining us, join us at our Patreon, which I think Everett's going to tell you about as the credits roll. So either way, have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you for watching. If you like or dislike what you heard, let us know. If you want to suggest an idea for an episode, ask the host a question, or just tell Chuck and James what you really think of them, join our communities at patreon.com/Good GMs Podcast, or find us on the usual social media platforms. For now, I'm E.E. Morris, and you're all good GMs.